This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the Dawson James Small Cap Growth Conference in Florida 2015. I have with me Josh Blacher from Galmed Pharmaceuticals. It's a publicly traded company and the symbol is GLMD. Josh, welcome to SNNLive.
Thanks for having me, Shelley. I appreciate it.
It's good to have you. So let's tell our audience, start with an overview of the company and we'll go from there.
Great. Our company, Galmed Pharmaceuticals, is developing a first-in-class drug for the treatment of fatty liver disease, a syndrome known as NASH, which stands for non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. It's currently estimated that fatty liver disease afflicts about 5 to 10% of the adult population in the U.S. and the EU5. So we're talking about numbers ranging between 50 and 60 million adults in just the U.S. and the EU.
What is the differentiating factor between your drug and anything else on the market?
Yes. Well, the first point I would like to make is nothing is on the market right now. It's a wide open market that the analysts estimate to be between $10 and $40 billion in annual sales. And the differentiators really are threefold. The first one is our safety profile. We have dosed over 150 human beings in 4 clinical studies. When you're talking about a mass market drug, it's imperative that the safety profile is crystal clean. Number 2, our drug is actually working to address the underlying cause of the disease, which is excess liver fat. Okay, we're not merely trying to treat the symptoms of the disease, but we're trying to reverse the issue of the excess liver fat, which causes the disease. And the third one, we're also working on some very important parameters with cardiovascular function. The way your body metabolizes cholesterol, for example, we directly interact with that. And considering that cardiovascular disease is the #1 leading cause of NASH-related deaths, it's very important that we also address the cardiovascular-related issues.
Where does the science come from?
The science was born in Israel in about 2000. Our current study that we're working on, our phase 2B, is being conducted in 4 continents. That would be the US, Europe, Latin America, and Israel, and in over 70 sites. So now it's well beyond Israel, but it's originally an Israeli invention.
Why hasn't anybody come up with this before?
Well, there are other competitors. We have 2 competitors that are a little bit ahead of us. A company called Intercept is doing a great way in paving the market for the industry. They traded a market cap of about $4 billion. They are just starting their phase 3. Another company called GenFit, a nice French company, yet it failed to meet its primary endpoint in its phase 2B study, is beginning its phase 3, and it trades at a $1 billion market cap. And then there's us, that we are the most advanced in the ongoing phase 2B studies, and our market cap is just a little over $100 million. We've been under the radar screen for far too long. Part of it, we'll accept responsibility. We just haven't been out there enough, and that is largely my job, is just to raise the visibility of the company.
So if I throw the word diabetes into the conversation, where would you go with that?
That's a great question. It relates to this whole metabolic syndrome factor, which originally we understood to be obesity and high cholesterol, and then it went into type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance and high blood pressure. We are the next leg of that. Okay, so when you think about your liver, your body functions and the organs that immediately get contact with all the bad stuff that we're putting into our body, the first organ that is going to have to deal with that is the liver. And what we've done in the Western world is we've asked our liver to work completely abnormally, to work so hard and so fast continuously that it simply doesn't know how to handle that. And it throws it into a state of shock. The liver becomes inflamed, the cells become ballooned, and it ultimately leads to cell death. Okay, but it's very much related to diabetes and to obesity. There's a tight correlation between folks with obesity and type 2 diabetes with NASH. We're not looking to treat symptoms, okay? We're not looking merely to resolve the inflammation or the ballooning of the cells or the liver death. That's coming from somewhere. And so it would be disingenuous if we didn't understand and really act on the cause of the disease. And that's what we're doing. We're sort of reprogramming the cells through a metabolic pathway that turns fat that's going into the liver from storage into usage, from bad into good.
So this sounds like it's kind of platform, isn't it?
It is a platform technology. We think that ultimately we're exploring other indications along this metabolic pathway, so other disease states that our drug Aramco could be useful for. And we're also looking to take it one step further, which is for patients that are really at the end stage of the NASH disease, and to create a companion therapy whereby we layer on something on top of Aramco, so we address the liver death related issue, the fibrosis.
And what is the drug called?
Aramco.
How do you spell that?
ARAMCHOL.
And how did that name come into being?
That's such a long story.
Give me a little tidbit.
It is the drug itself is a synthetic conjugation of arachidic acid and bile acid. So you have the arachidic and the bile acid and the fatty acid put together, squished into one word, and such is life.
Okay. What's your background, besides being a linguist?
My background is I spent 15 years on Wall Street. I grew up in mergers and acquisitions, did my MBA at Columbia Business School, and then went to the investment side. So I was a stock analyst at Morgan Stanley, portfolio manager at Deutsche, and then swung over into industry and worked in pharmaceuticals at Teva.
And you found something you really liked.
Yes.
Right.
It's nice being a part of a story where you can really impact the outcome.
Now let's give your website out, if you would, to our audience of investors.
It's www.galmedpharma, GALMED, pharma.com, and our ticker symbol is GLMD.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Blacher, Galmed Pharmaceuticals. Again, I'll give you the symbol GLMD. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the Dawson James Small Cap Growth Conference in Florida 2015. Josh, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Shelley. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.